Hey guys, back with the Mega Man X Series review, part 2, and let's get right into it with Mega Man X5. Okay, Mega Man X5. For the longest time, I had thought that Mega Man X5 was actually a good game. I played it back on the PS1, back when my friend had a PS1. Or no, this is when I actually had a PS1. I didn't have many games for it, and I sold it really fast, but I did end up getting Mega Man X5. I think I got it on eBay, and back then Mega Man X5 was pretty cheap. I actually don't know how much it costs now, but it was like $10 back then. I want to say it's probably more expensive now to get a physical copy, but I don't think it's that expensive. But yeah, X5 and X6 I played at that point. I actually played X6 before X5 for some reason, but and when I first played X5, I liked it. Now, I played it again recently, as I said before. I played all these games again to kind of refresh my memory. And X5 really surprised me. I actually hate this game. This surprised the hell out of me. I remember for the longest time liking this game, but after playing it again, I realized just how bad this game is. There is a lot of things that piss me off about this game. I'll get into those, I guess. But okay, Mega Man X5. First off, it generally plays similar to X4 in terms of, well, actually not really, but I mean it's got the same kind of graphical style. Same sense of speed. And I guess one of the big differences is you can duck in X5, which I don't. I mean, okay, ducking is not so bad. It's one of those things that could be okay, but almost every time they use this mechanic, it's always in like one of those ways where you have to like crouch and wait for something to happen, so that then you can proceed after a couple seconds. And that slows down the flow of the game. Like it completely slows the game to a halt. And that is basically my biggest problem with this game. Is when I was playing it again, the level design in this game is fucking terrible. It completely blew me away how bad the level design is. So okay, X5 has like a big focus on storytelling, as with X4, probably even more so. There's like a time limit thing. I like the story is really stupid too. It's really bad. But there's a time limit thing. You have like 16 hours before like something crashes or something. You have to, and each stage you do takes up like 1 hour. And you can like the ending changes and the story can kind of change depending on whether you succeed. And the problem with this though is that it's completely random. You can actually succeed. You can get through the game in less than 16 hours. You know, and get through that time limit, and not fail your objective. But it's determined by chance whether or not the story actually ends by the way of the true ending, which is really, really ridiculous. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much to me because I don't really care about the story all that much. But it's this really weird design decision. Like, there's just so many design decisions in this game that are baffling to me. I mentioned the crouch ability. But not only that, you're constantly interrupted in this game by, what's her name, Aelia, I guess. So anytime you reach a new obstacle in a stage, automatically you're completely stopped dead in your tracks. Aelia pops up, gives you like a massive text dump, saying exactly what you need to do to pass this obstacle. And it does this for every new thing you come across. So each stage has like the flow completely stopped every time you reach a new obstacle. So you can't even really figure things out for yourself because you're told exactly what to do, and it completely stops the flow of the game. And this is like a sin in terms of platformers. Platformers should always have a great flow to them. You should never be stopped dead in your tracks for too long. And X5, it does this constantly. And the level designs themselves are terrible. I'll talk about a bit about the levels here. Okay, so each level has like a gimmick, a really irritating gimmick. Well, okay, not every level. A couple of them are your standard running gun levels, and those are the enjoyable ones. Like the Firefly level, I thought was one of the better levels in the game because it felt like a level that would be in Mega Man X4, which that game had good level design. So I don't know what happened between X4 and X5, but like man. Okay, so one of the levels, I'll talk about like the Matrix level. The guy's name's Matrix, like a dinosaur boss. Like it's like a fire level, your typical fire level. But there's a part of this level where uh, like lava will kind of like fly past the screen, and it's a one-hit kill. And you got to like hide behind these points in the map where the lava won't hit you. So you crouch behind these points and you just wait there while the lava passes by, and then 5 seconds later the lava stops and you can continue on until the next spot. And then you wait there, and the lava goes by, and then you get to the next spot and you wait there. And half of the level is this shit. It is boring. And then of course you're told exactly what to do constantly by Aelia in this part. But it's boring. It stops the flow. There's no challenge to it whatsoever. It's fucking terrible. Uh, I mean, the other half of the level's okay. You're in like a ride armor, and you can like choose a different path. Um, but it's really ugly, and it makes no sense because it's like that's another bad. Like there's like a bottom part where there's lava covering the screen, and it's like Aelia comes up and she's like, "Oh, you can go the top path without the lava or the bottom path with the lava, but you're gonna need the ride armor to survive in the lava." So you get in your ride armor and you can survive in lava, even though X is clearly like his head is outside of the ride armor. So he should really be getting hit, but he doesn't because it's like the level design in this game. I'm telling you, I'm gonna give some more examples because I like playing this game. I was shocked at how bad the level design was. You have Squid Adler. Another thing, like this game, all the bosses are named after like Guns N' Roses band members, which is really weird and stupid. But you have Squid Adler's level, where the first half is a motorbike section, which I liked the motorbike section in X4. In this, it's terrible. First off, it's way too fast. Second, you can't predict what's going to come up ahead of you. It's impossible because of the speed. So it's basically a trial and error section where you're constantly dying because there's these ridiculous jumps, and you never know when to boost with your bike or when to jump with your bike. And there's these orbs that you have to collect along the way. You don't have to collect them, but if you want one of the capsules for an armor piece, you're going to have to get all these orbs. And I did this. I remember doing this when I first played the game. I didn't attempt it this time because it took me forever the first time, and I remember getting so frustrated with it. But this shit's ridiculous. Like it's one of the hardest things I've done in a video game, and looking at it again, I was like, this is like the biggest trial and error bullshit I've ever seen. So I mean, this motorbike section is terrible. It's all platforming. You're not shooting any enemies. It's very short too once you finally do complete it. But then you reach the second half of the level where the rest of the level, you're basically shooting these switches that open up doors. So every time you shoot the switch, this door opens up slowly and slowly and slowly until it's fully open. But you only have like 5 seconds before it closes all the way again. And while that's door is open, you got to shoot another switch. So the rest of the level, you're shooting these switches, and you're just waiting there for these doors to open. And then you have enemies shooting at you while you're doing this. It is the most tedious, frustrating thing ever. And going through this level in general is one of the worst designed levels I've ever seen in a platformer. It's insane. And then you have Duff McWhalen's level, which is like this auto scroller, this underwater side scroller level. You know, where the screen moves from left to right. That takes forever. It's boring. It's easy, and it's like the longest fucking level ever. It goes on forever. It's one of those levels that it's like. Playing it again, I was like, I remember this level being bad the first time, but man, like that level is just terrible. What else do you have in that game for like gimmicky levels? There's like a train level where you have to like jump from train to train before they explode, which is pretty gimmicky. That's not one of the worst levels, but it's not great. You have another level where bombs are planted, and you got to destroy them before they blow up, and it's the first time through, it's impossible to know where these bombs are going to show up, and you have so little time to blow them up, and if you don't, the whole screen blows up and you get hit. It's just this game's full of all these stupid-ass gimmicks, and like I mentioned before, the flow is completely halted. They reuse a lot of ideas from previous Mega Man games. The castle has like those Quick Man lasers, but because of the wall run ability, you always accidentally get stuck on walls as you're falling down with these quick lasers. And it's terrible. It's trial and error game design. I feel like I'm ranting here, and I probably am. I apologize, but this game just I kind of hate this game, and it's weird to me because I remember liking it. In fact, there's not really much positive I can say about this game. Yeah, I mean, some of the levels are okay, and the music, okay, the music is fantastic. The music is really good, as with most X games and most Mega Man games. But my God, playing through this game, I mean, it's got a good challenge level, I guess, but I think a lot of it is just tedious. Like, I don't know. X5, I gotta say, it's one of those games that for the longest time I thought it was good, but playing it again, yeah, yikes, this game it's pretty bad. Now, Mega Man X6. Have talked about this game before. I'd consider this a guilty pleasure game. Now, X6 wasn't actually supposed to exist. X5 was meant to be the end of the X series. And then they just made X6 for the hell of it, and the story in this game makes no sense. It's stupid. It's a waste. Luckily, I don't care about that too much. I know a lot of people hate X6 for that reason. That it continues a story that really ended in X5. But I don't care too much because, again, like I said before, I play these games for the gameplay, not the terrible story, in my opinion, of course. Now, X6 a lot of people consider it the worst in the series. I gotta say, it's I'm gonna try to defend this game, but I completely understand people that hate this game. It's a very flawed game, and in fact, in a lot of ways, it's a bad game. But I there's a part of me that likes this game. Okay, I played it. It was the first game on the PS1, or was it? No, it wasn't. X4 was the first PS1 X game, but I played this before X5. Now X6, people usually say that X3 is like the hardest in the series. No, I think it's X6. X6 is a brutal game. It is almost designed. It's almost like the developers designing this wanted like the players to feel to suffer playing this game. Like it's a brutal game. Like the level design in this game is cheap. It's incredibly cheap. And really, like a lot of the level design doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of leap of faith jumps. You have Metal Shark Player stage, which is like one of the hardest stages in any platformer, I think. It's like a trash compactor stage where you die one hit if it crushes you, and it's very difficult. It's extremely long. It's an excruciating level. In fact, this game, when I first beat it for the first time, it was like an accomplishment. And this is one of the reasons why I like this game. This game is so difficult that I can't help but admire it in a weird way. It's strange, and I actually go back to it fairly often. And playing it again, there's still parts of it I enjoyed. There's a nightmare system in this game where Reploids can be infected by a virus, and you got to rescue them throughout the stages. If you want to 100% this game, you got to collect all the items and save all the Reploids, which is a near impossible task. I've never done it. Anyone that's done it, kudos, like holy shit. Because if a Reploid gets infected by a virus in the stage, and you can't rescue him in time, you have to start the entire game over. And there's a lot of these Reploids that are in such weird spots. Like, they'll just be hovering in the air, which makes no sense at all. But they're, like, hovering in the air in, like, hard-to-reach spots, and the viruses will reach them faster than you can get to them. It's this really annoying component of the game that I can definitely understand why people hate that. A lot of the mini-bosses are terrible. You have Hymax, which is one of the most tedious bosses in any video game I've played, and you have to fight him multiple times. A really terrible boss. The final boss is really annoying too. In fact, a lot of the bosses are annoying. You have... oh, I forgot about Blaze Heatnix's stage. One of the most baffling stages in any game I've played, where the entire stage you fight this one mini-boss over and over and over again. It's got like 4 points on him. It's like this giant orb thing, this red orb that kind of goes around the stage. It has green orbs in the top left, top right, bottom left, and bottom right that you have to destroy it. You fight this thing like 6 times at the stage, and that's all you do throughout the stage. With X, it's not as bad. With Zero, it's almost impossible. This level is almost impossible with Zero, and people who have played this game will know what I'm talking about. It's like this game almost just seems... I don't know. It's one of those stages that's hard to describe, but when you played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. It is the most difficult, most tedious, odd stage ever, and Blaze Heatnix himself has a one-hit kill attack, which is bullshit. Like, this game is just filled with so much bullshit. I don't know. It's this weird game that it's so difficult, but I admire it in a weird way. Some of the stages are genuinely quite fun. I think. You have like the ice stage, Wolfgang, I think his name was, which is a really cheap stage. Like there's these icicle sections where these cubes drop down. You have to jump on them in a certain pattern. And the first time through, you're never going to know this pattern, and it's so easy to be crushed by them. Commander Yarmok, you have like spikes on the ground, but you can't even see them. Like they're off screen, and you have to like, make these leap of faith jumps. So chances are you're going to die by the spikes that you can't even see. I mean, again, this game, I won't lie, it's not a great game. It's the level design is bad. Like X5, it's bad, but at the same time, a lot like at least you're not being told what to do. And the flow, I think this game flows maybe a bit better than X5 does. So yeah, it's a hard game to defend. I can completely understand the hate. I like it for a very weird reason. It's I don't know. It's just a weird game to me that I keep coming back to it, and I find enjoyment from it. Yeah, even though, like I said, it's hard to defend. Yeah, there's not really too much to say. I will say the soundtrack in this game kicks ass. The soundtrack is fucking awesome in this game. Probably one of my favorite soundtracks in the series. Like, it's great. Like, really hard rock, heavy metal soundtrack. But some slower tunes in there as well. Graphically, actually, I think graphically it's not that great either. Rainy Turtloid stage. You have, like, this toxic rain, and you have to, like, destroy all these things to make the rain stop coming down, which, again, are really gimmick. Like, there's so many stupid gimmicks in this game. Like, it generally suffers from the same problems as X5, but I find I can forgive this game a bit more because it's so ridiculously difficult. I know, it makes no sense. I'm defending a piece of shit here. I really am. Uh, but I don't know. That's X6. I play it. It's one of those games I highly recommend just playing to see how crazy it is. But yeah, I have this weird, irrational admiration for this game. All right, Mega Man X7. Okay, I played this game again. I played this game again. Fuck this game, man. Fuck this game so much. Okay, Mega Man X7, not only is this probably the worst Mega Man game ever made, it's quite possibly one of the worst games I've ever played. I've only played through it once before playing it again for this series review. I hated it then. I hated it even more playing it again. God, this game is terrible. Okay, I appreciate that they tried to do something a bit new with this game. They tried to change things up. I think people were complaining that the formula was getting old. So it's like a 3D, 2D mix, this game. And both sections are terrible. Okay, first off, you don't even get to play as X until you rescue, like, I think it's like 64 Reploids or beating the 8 Mavericks, which already, that fucking sucks. Because, like I said before, I hate playing as Zero, and in this game, Zero is actually useful in X4 and 5 and 6. In this game, Zero is fucking useless. So you can either play as him or the new character, Axel. Fuck Axel, man. This character, not only is this character fucking lame in terms of the story and just as a character, and the story in this game is absolute bullshit. It's terrible. There's too much of it. There's way too much of a focus on it. But Axel is just not fun to play as. And in general, like the 2D sections in this game, you have to use a lock-on mechanic to shoot the enemies, and it feels terrible. Like, this game just feels awful to play. Like, the movement is very stilted. The animations are terrible. Like, the lock-on system I fucking hate. Your shots feel weak. You feel weak in this game. The level design in terms of the 2D sections is boring. But really it's the 3D sections that I can't stand. It controls awkwardly. The camera is fucking terrible in this game, and the level designs in this game are full of terrible gimmicks. And you know, I'm talking a lot of hate now because I ever since X5 was really like the downfall of the X series, and it's such a shame because I think this series could have maybe remained good. I mean, the classic series, I think, for the most part, remained good. But man, the X series just fell apart. And this was like this was like the ultimate, like, terrible game. Like, Like, this really did ruin the X series completely. You know, X5 and X6 I think are bad games, but this is just, like, playing this game, it was a torturous experience, man, playing this game again. Like, the bosses, the Mavericks are terrible, they're lame, they're tedious. I mean, I don't even want to talk about this game much. It's just depressing. This game is just depressing to play through. If you really want to, like, torture yourself, go and try to play this game. Like, I was really having a hard time getting through this game. Like, it was so bad. Like, when I reached, like, the fortress stages, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Why am I playing this? It's oh God, it's just depressing. But I'm gonna move on. X7, a terrible game, a blight on the series. You know, people have said how terrible this game is, and they're right, man. This game, it's an atrocity. It seriously is one of the worst games I've ever played. Like, you know what? Don't even try playing this. Just save yourself the hassle. Okay, and finally we have Mega Man X8. I don't like this game either. I gotta say, like, it's I played this game again. Now, X8, okay, X8 is better than X7. I'll give it that. They did improve on some aspects. It's no longer, well, some of it's 3D, but it's mostly a 2D side scroller, which is good. Unfortunately, though, it still has the really stiff, awkward animations that X7 does. It's ugly to look at, this game. The soundtrack's not even that good, but like, the story, again, is absolute garbage. Luckily, you do get to play as X right away. I think my big problem with X8 is again, the level design. It's super gimmicky. Like, in fact, most of the levels in this, like, I want to say, like, okay, you have, like, motorbike sections again, but they're not fun at all in this game. Like, they're they're in a weird view where it's like you see them. It's hard to describe, but you have to, like, jump over pits and stuff like that. Like, it's not side scrolling. It's like, it's hard to describe, but they're not fun. Like, there's these motorbike sections that aren't fun. They go on forever, and like, this game has this weird obsession with puzzles, and this is one of my problems with Mega Man 8 on the PS1 in the classic series. Like, to me, Mega Man games like the X series and the original series should never have puzzles. Puzzles, to me, just completely halt a platformer's flow. And this game has this bizarre obsession with them, and the puzzles in this game are fucking tedious. Like, they are so aggravating. Like, again, like, the level design in this game, I find, is just really bad. Like, the levels are not fun to play through, and then add, like, just the stiff movement and animations, and it just doesn't feel good to play this game. Like, some of the levels are okay as far as the 2D platforming goes. The game is fairly challenging, which is good. The bosses are okay. The bosses aren't too bad to fight, at least. A lot of them are really lame in this game. Again, like, it's one of those games where it's like they tried at least to go back, but it just, I don't know. I think this game actually could have maybe been pretty good if they just got rid of all the puzzles and gimmicky level design. If it was just a straight-ahead run-and-gun platformer, I think I might have enjoyed this a lot more, but as it stands, it's just, I don't know, it's a very frustrating, tedious game, and playing this again, I was not having any fun. So yeah, that's Mega Man X8. I mean, there's not really too much to say about it. It's better than X7, and I know some people actually do like this game. I can see why. It's not the worst game ever. Especially if you don't mind, like, the puzzle elements to the game, but it's something I just don't think belongs in a Mega Man game, personally. So yeah, guys, that's my Mega Man X series review. I know I got really negative and ranty towards the end there, but I don't know. It's the X series in general, I think, is an enjoyable series. It's just depressing to look back on it, because I think it could have been so much better. And it was also disappointing because before I did this series review and played all the games again, I was expecting to be a bit more positive on X6 and X5, but after playing them again, it is really hard to defend those games, and X5 in particular is much worse than I remembered it being. So yeah, it's kind of a shame. I really, you know, after playing all these games again, I just don't think this series stacks up to the classic series, but those first 4 games are still really enjoyable, and I always love going back to them. And the X series is a series I want to see return. What I would love to see is a Mega Man X9 done in the style of X1, 2, and 3, like Super Nintendo style. 16-bit graphics. Have Inti Creates, the guys that did Mega Man 9 and 10, do it. Put it on, make it like a digital download or whatever on a bunch of systems. I would fucking love that. That would be the best thing, I think, for the X series. But Mega Man is pretty much dead. I just don't see it being something that will happen. I mean, I could be wrong. Who knows? I really hope something like that happens. But yeah, the X series, enjoyable overall, but it's definitely depressing when you look at how it turned out in the end. Like just the downfall starting with Mega Man X5. But yeah, stay tuned for part 3 while I will rank all 8 games from my least favorite to my favorite. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.